Hello, in this video I want to give an example of how we can use CueTimer as a conference timer, where you for example have an event where there are speakers with PowerPoint presentations and they usually ask for a timer so they know how much time they are using. By the way, this is from an example from my own work in Central, where I work as an AV technician, and I will sit behind here with controlling CueTimer here and controlling the PowerPoints, and technically, I will send the HDMI output out to the stage monitor through a switcher, or I can also just send it directly with a long SDI cable or something. And we also have some organizers or producers who wants to follow the time, and they will get access to a web page that we create through CueTimer. So let's see how we can set all of this up. And when you open the program for the first time, you will get this empty screen. And the first thing we will do is to make sure that we have some timers to display. And if we are lucky, then the event organizers will have a schedule for us. So I made this very simplified schedule here with the start time and who is speaking. And this is basically all we need to create all our timers. So we push this import list button here and we push the paste button. And now the first thing we need to check is that the CueTimer columns matches what we are importing. So I move this here start to start, so that in CueTimer the name and description column will import the who column, and start column will import the start column. This looks good. We also get this little preview here so we can check that everything is looking good before we import it. So now we import it. And one thing you noticed is that we already have the durations and they are auto-calculated from the start times. And that is because you have this option called auto schedule. And when you are importing schedules like we're doing now, this option is really handy because it means that you don't need to know the durations. You just need to know the start times, and then we will assume that once John is finished, then Jane is starting. So now that we have the schedule here, the next step is to make sure that we can see the timers where we need it. And we will start with ourselves and the preview, which will just be a copy of what is shown on the full screen monitor. And then we'll push the full screen. And now the full screen is already displayed here. Let's assume that everything is connected with cabling and stuff. And then this full screen means that we are sending the full screen output from CueTimer. And what I forgot to say is that you need to put your monitor as an extended display, and then you go to the full screen monitor options in CueTimer. You can see that we are sending it to display number 2, which is correct. And the next step is to make sure that we have the web page, and we have already generated a link. So in this case, we just need to copy our link and then maybe send it to a mail to the people who we want to see it. But just to make sure that it's working, we'll copy it here, and you can see you get this same timer here on this page as we have in this page. Okay, so now we are ready for the show. And when the show starts, I think in most cases you just push start button every time a new presenter enters the stage. So now John is talking and he will get his countdown here, and then he's clapped off the stage, and then it's Jane and Jen and Linda, etc. What can happen during the event is that the organizer comes to you and say, oh no, we need to finish at 13:30. You know, Jen was speaking so long about something and we're running late. Then there are a couple of tricks you can do. The easiest is to push this minus button. So you just chop off a couple of minutes like this. But then Linda, she will see that she has less time than before. And in some situations, we are really sensitive about this. And we don't want the presenters to see that the time is changing. And then we have this very subtle trick with speed, which means that you can speed up the timers so it runs faster. Let's see what happens. And if you notice the end time here, you'll see that it changes now as we changes the speed. But apparently the timer here doesn't change, because now it's running faster and it will also end faster. So let's see how much we need to speed it up. Okay, 13%. I don't know if you can, maybe if you look at this really closely and you're not talking, you're just concentrating, maybe you can see it, but for most presenters, they will not be able to see it. So for them, it can be a smoother experience with the speed than just chopping off minutes like this. So this is basically what you need to know to run CueTimer for conferences or event. We also have more advanced features that you can see in other videos. But I hope this is useful. Take care and see you again soon.